everybody, and welcome to another edition of Average Superstar TV. I am your host, Lauren Lepre. Thank you for joining me on this fine Monday where we drop a new episode. Please hit that subscribe button on YouTube and Spotify. And this week, we're back in the horror movie world, returning for the first time in a couple of years. We got a legend here, especially if you're into 80s horror. Let me tell you something. This guy has been in Children of the Corn, Return of the Living Dead. He's been in North Shore, Tombstone, Point Break. He's been in Grandview USA, New Kids. He's been in TV shows like Wise Guy, The Young Riders, and Amazing Stories. I'm jealous of this guy's resume. But with that, welcome, John Philbin, back to Average Superstar TV.
Hello, everybody. It's good to be here. Return of the Living Dead. Yeah, I'm still alive. It's awesome.
Yes,
I thought I was dead for a while, but I'm still alive, so it's great to be here, man. You make it sound like I was a successful actor. Thanks, Lauren. That's fun.
I think you were. I was just actually watched Grandview USA on it's on YouTube. I just think it's an illegal upload, but I just saw it recently. Yeah,
I think that movie changed my life. You know, that was the first movie I was cast in, but it wasn't the first movie I did. It was the first movie that I learned how to act and to get it's the first movie where I had learned how to act for an audition. And so I got the movie before I had done any movies, but there was a long time before they shot. So I was able to audition and get and shoot Children of the Corn before I went off to do Grandview USA. But yeah, that same guy who, that put me in that movie also put me in North Shore as another movie that changed my life. So Randall Kleiser has affected my career in most wonderful ways. And I just love that man. And I realize now, like when you're young and you're going through all this shit, like I thought I was a failure as an actor. Now I start going to these conventions and I look back on my career as an older 64-year-old. And I'm like, I got lucky. I had a great time.
Dude, to me, like I don't know where you're basing your bar. If you're basing your bar, hey, how active was I in the 90s and the 2000s? I guess you're being hard on yourself, but like I would gladly just be happy to sign off and say I was on just one of these films. Like that's all I want on my resume as an actor. And the fact that you're Tombstone, Point Break, like come on, man, they're immortal.
Thanks, brother. I know you never know what a movie's going to be like. You do it, and you want to be Robert De Niro, though. Like my friends were Jimmy Spader and Eric Stoltz, and that's who I was coming up with. Sean Penn and Robert Downey Jr. were all in the same movies and going to acting class with like Laura Dern and Meg Ryan, Tony Edwards and those people and George Clooney and stuff. And those people I'm not those guys, Eric Stoltz, I'm not those guys. I'm me. And I should be happy with, what I did, but at the time I'm like, well, so-and-so is going to Europe to do this thing, like, why aren't I going to Europe to do this thing? My agent be like, you're not Eric Stoltz.
But look at it, like you're a different action beat, and that's not a slander in any way, but you and Eric Stoltz are just two different sides. Eric Stoltz is like a serious, down to earth, I think too serious of an actor where like you're that guy that could kind of get thrown into anything and they can flip you like
I could. You're right.
You're a bad guy in Point Break, like a badass. Like I'm a bank robber, and I'm one of the muscle guys here that if something goes down, and I'll put you down. Tombstone, you're part of a gang member. Then you flip over here to Chuck and Return of the Living Dead, and then you're over here as Cowboy, in Grandview USA. Like you're still got a range. This Eric would just seem to be. Eric's a lot of the same character in a lot of his movies. I'm not putting him down. I praise him, but like
you can't put down the guy that played Rocky Dennis in Mask and then turned around and did some kind of wonderful. You know what I mean?
Oh my God!
But and then he's a really hugely successful TV director, is what Eric does. And then but his whole career took an interesting twist when he got cast as Marty McFly in Back to the Future and then replaced by Michael J. Fox. And that changed his whole approach to
over a month later. That was over a month of filming. That's huge amount of loss for the studio.
Oh yeah, no, I know. And for an actor, he's my best friend at the time. After that night, when that night happened, I was on a date, and I got a call. He was my best friend. I got a call. Hey, I need to see you. I need to talk to you, And I was on a date. I was like with this girl who was my girlfriend for years, and we were just starting to get to know each other. It was kind of a big date. And I was like, I gotta go. She goes, what? And I'm like, I gotta leave. I gotta go hang out with Eric. She goes, why? And I said, I can't tell you, but someday I will, and I went out with Eric that night, and, he was just devastated, as any young actor would be, because he knew, he's smart. So he knew what a big deal that was, just like, what a big deal it was. And, we went spray painting on Sunset Boulevard, tagging. This is my wife, and I can't get it, can I?
You can take a second if you need it.
No.
I'll splice it out.
It's okay. I love my wife. In fact, anyway, it was a great night. The only thing I have new going on in my life is I got this new tattoo of my wife on my shoulder.
That's love right there.
That's what my wife looks like. What a beauty. So I saw that picture of her on Facebook before I met her, and I went, I love that girl. Who is she? Where does she live? Where does she go to meetings? I need to meet her. And so now I married her.
That's better than a wedding ring. That's way better than a wedding ring.
Yeah. I hope it lasts. I stopped her, married her, and I got her on my body. I hope
for your sake it does as well.
I love my wife. Anyway, that was my life. Sorry, I just started babbling. I had a little bit of coffee. Let me take this.
No, you were at you were tagging up painting, spray paint with Eric Schultz after the
Honey,
fact that.
Do you want to be in a podcast? I'm on the phone for the next 2 hours. Do you want to be in a podcast?
Sure.
Look,
hey,
girl on the picture.
We were just talking about you.
She looks.
Oh, good.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, I dig it.
All good. Hi, everybody.
Hey.
And have a great podcast. Don't let me interrupt you.
All right, I gotta go. I love you, baby. Bye. Yeah, I can't really tell you the stuff we said. Well, we were meditating on what's your inner core truth. How do you feel? Yeah. What's going on? And that's what we would tag all over Sunset Boulevard, by the chateau and on the bus stops and on the walls. And there was one security guard at the Sunset Plaza, Sunset Strip. This is in the 80s. And he saw what we were doing, and so we had to escape and run from him for the next 2 hours, with our cans. It was so much fucking fun, and I'll never forget it. And I'll love Eric Stoltz my entire life. He was so generous and kind to me, and such a great guy. So that's just a memory I cherish. I cherish that night, even though it was, that's tough news for an actor.
Do you think he knew that was coming?
I think he might have suspected it, the director starts losing his temper and losing his patience with you, and producers start swirling around. You're like,
yeah,
what's going on? Shitty feeling.
Yeah. I mean, all I know is what I've seen on documentaries. I said he took the role like way too seriously. They're like, it's supposed to be like a comedy as well. And he's playing it way too like, who am I? I don't know who I am, that sort of thing. So
that's interesting. Yeah, that came out. We're gonna go back to when Eric Stoltz played Marty McFly in Back to the Future. Yeah. So it's like, he's a very serious actor. So, but he's great. He found his place, he took a little time and he found his place in the industry. He's a very respected theater actor. I've seen him in a lot of plays on Broadway. And then in Europe, he would always do these movies in Europe before it was like, I don't know, popular. He'd just go to Europe and do movies. He loved that sensibility. He loved that vibe. He loved that.
He's always working. I mean, all the way from.
And then he became a director. He started doing AD work with Jerry Ziesmer or whatever. And then he did PA work. Like, Eric Stoltz, you're a movie star. You're a PA on this movie, and then he was an AD. And then he became a director, a TV director, and he could do movies if you want to do. But he's still a great guy. Anyway, that's my little.
He flew.
That's my claim to fame. But those are the '80s, man. My magic time in the '80s.
Yeah, he did fine going right into Pulp Fiction, and he's always been active. So good for him. Right now, you're just figure. I'll jump right into this topic. You just came off. How was the last year of your life? For the 40th anniversary of in the convention circuit for Children of the Corn with John Franklin and Courtney Gaines.
I loved the last year of my life, and I had no idea I could ever have a year like this. Like I said, I had forgotten I was an actor for a while. I got into other things, and this year, 40-year reunion, I got hooked up with Chris Rowe, who manages John Franklin, and Courtney Gaines and Fritz Kirsch, and he took me on because he he said, well, you've been in 2 horror movies. One, we're going to do a tour of all the conventions for the 40-year reunion. So stay alive, everybody. If you've been in a horror movie, stay alive. So the 40-year, Return of the Living Dead convention, those guys went to 12. I went to 10, maybe 11. They went to 12. They went to Europe. They went to, Spain, Italy, England, but I only got to go to the ones in the United States. And I'll tell you, it was a blast. I went all over the United States and I loved it. I met a lot of people, I made some money. I felt good about my life. They're really a saving grace for a guy that was in horror movies, to meet those fans and to see those different cities, a lot of South and the East, and the Midwest. It was just fantastic. I can't say enough good things about it. I saved all my lanyards. I got a shirt from every one of the conventions, tried to get a staff shirt if they had it available. Really nice people volunteer for these things. I just loved it. And now I'm like, I really want to do it for Return of the Living Dead this year, because this year's the 40-year anniversary for Return of the Living Dead. And I just love conventions. Now I'm a convention whore, man. I just want to go to all of them.
I think you're going to have I totally believe you're going to have a copy and paste year. I think you're going to do this. I think the fans are they really love that Children of the Corn, right? I mean, you're lined up. I mean, I saw you once at Monster Mania back in March, so we were hanging out for a little bit. But you're every table was busy across the boards when it's Monster Mania. But good for you.
Yeah, those big cons are just impressive. They blow my mind, man. I had no idea. I actually, a long time ago, I had gone to Comic-Con because there was a release of a certain type of, DVD that had some special features on it. And we were just, it's a trip. I don't know. That's a different scene. I like the horror conventions, man. They're really fun. You get to walk around and see what other people do. I see actors like Billy Zane from Tombstone, guys that I haven't seen since a movie I'd worked with them. And there they are, because they were also, in whatever, Titanic or something. Now he's going to come out. And so I get to talk to him again, like at a convention. And he gets to show me pictures of himself as Marlon Brando. And he's I fucking love that guy. And he's just done a movie that's going to change his life. At this stage of the game, it's going to change his life. So I'm really happy for him. And you never know. If you stay alive, you never know what can happen. And some of these guys that were in these horror movies are the nicest, greatest guys, and you get to see him like, oh, there's that guy. I love that guy. So it's fun.
Absolutely. So this year it was going to be the 40th anniversary coming up, 2025. Return of the Living Dead.
I have December off. January, my first, when I get back I'm going to Hawaii for my honeymoon or whatever. What's that called? Anniversary, 2-year anniversary. Got to remember these things, bro. I am married now. I got to go. The first one is Days of the Dead, Las Vegas.
Okay.
So I'm going to all the Days of the Dead. I want to go to all of them. And then, so that's in January, and that starts it off. And I'm looking forward to it.
Between you being scattered around the cons, even through last year, did you keep in touch? Has it been a while since you've seen all the Return of the Living Dead cast members? Or you kind of seen sprinkled out?
I've seen them every once in a while, but this is going to be the year where we hang out. I've already been to 2 with them. They're kind of they don't have one person managing them. So they've got to get, some people are freelance. Some people have one manager that they use sometimes, it's not one cohesive unit like Children of the Corn is. So I have to, I'm a satellite in the orbit of that cast, even though it's an ensemble cast, and I'm a major part of it. I'm still a satellite. I don't get booked at the same time they do. I've got to call my manager, Chris Rowe, and say, hey, I'd like to do this convention. They're all going. Can I go to this? And he's on a different schedule. He's got a big plate, all the time. So now that hi, kitty. I've got a cat that keeps coming in and out.
Show the kitty. Let's see this cat. Yeah, let's see this cat. Pick it up. Hey, buddy.
Hello.
Say hello to the world. That's a handsome cat.
That's a good-looking cat, right?
Yeah, it is.
That is a good-looking kitty. You're so good-looking. That's a Maine Coon or whatever. What a beautiful cat.
Really? It's that big, huh? Yeah, he's one of them monsters, huh?
Yeah, they're just a really good looking animal with the long hair and just.
As far as Return of the Living Dead, though,
Oh yeah.
what this for the fans? What was like your favorite moment of filming that?
Oh. I have two favorite standout moments. The graveyard when Linnea danced on the tombstone naked, which was mind
I
blowing.
wonder why.
Yeah, I wonder why. I was very, when I look back, I was extremely naive, sheltered, vanilla kid. I don't think I'd ever been to a strip club by the time I made that movie. I had never been to a strip club. I had just moved to LA 3 years earlier. I was suburban, shy and sheltered person. So I was shocked, and I shouldn't have been shocked. My character should have seen it all the time, but no one had. Like, it was like new. Like, I'd never seen a merkin. I'd never seen a girl with no hair. I was like, fuck, the cameras are rolling, man. I gotta get out of this shot. Get out of this shot. Because I was like, what the fuck is that? Are we allowed to show that? What is that? And then also my other second favorite scene is when we knocked the head off of Tarman, which I was so excited to do. We were all there and scared, and Tarman was so good. That monster was just mind blowing, and we were all wet and scared. It was like the peak of our fear, and it was a rad practical stunt with a baseball bat. Guy hit a fucking head off of a real human being. I was like, anything could happen right now. This could be a fucking disaster, but it wasn't. We were just, practical effects are different. There's no green screen. We're doing it. So it was rad. Tarman was amazing. So those are my moments.
Sweet. And this was being filmed at the time where I believe there was a writer's strike.
Yeah, we were all very lucky to be working at the time. And, that's what James Karen was telling us. He goes, we're working, like we were so lucky because, a lot of actors weren't working, and we were, and we might not have known what we were doing, but but Dan O'Banna did it. And that movie turned out to be a wonderful thing. Right. Like, I was like, I don't know about this. The next thing you know, 25 years later, it's like, it's a cult classic, so I'm so lucky. I am so glad I did that movie and I got cast and I did, and it turned out, I've been lucky on a couple movies. I didn't write them. I didn't create the vibe. I got cast in them, and they turned into movies that found a place with audiences where it keeps going. A lot of movies are just forgettable.
Yeah.
But Children of the Corn, Return of the Living Dead, Tombstone, and Point Break, and North Shore in the surfing world have become these cult movies that have a following for whatever reason. I was lucky enough to be involved in them. And like you said, yeah, I look at that now and I'm like, fuck, I scored. I was lucky. I got lucky.
Yeah.
A lot of actors my age, good actors, were just in like really serious movies, and they weren't in horror movies or big action movies. But they're not working anymore because, that's that's the life of an actor, but they would love to go to conventions, so us, the actors that are lucky enough to go to a convention. Yeah. If anybody wants to come up and say hi, we fucking love it. We're so fucking lucky. And look at Loki. Loki, come here.
You're down on the pussy today.
Look at this killer.
Oh, we've been hearing about you. This is a killer, huh?
You are a killer. He lives to tell another day. What a happy day. Every day that cat survives, they're indoor outdoor cats.
Yeah.
Every day they survive their outdoor hunting thing.
Grandview, USA. I didn't realize how big of a cast you had there of people.
How's that cast, man?
Yeah, like John Cusack, John Cusack, was barely in it. Like, he was still like, a minor player at that time. You had Swayze, Jennifer, Jason Lee, Jamie Lee Curtis, like you. I mean, it went on and on. I was like, wow, look at
Swayze, Troy Donahue, C. Thomas Howell's the lead of it. Yeah, guy's an amazing cowboy. Yeah, it was just me and Patrick Swayze. C. Thomas Howell, Jamie Lee Curtis, Carol Cook, we're Jennifer Jason Lee, the Cusacks. We're like we're making movies, man. We're pretty excited about the whole thing. It was that's the Randall Kleiser movie. And it's a sweet. I had the best part. I mean, God, I love that character and I love that experience. That was huge. I made mistakes. I learned a lot, like that was a big movie, to be, and that probably changed my life. That movie changed my life.
Yeah, so. Yeah, I loved your role, and like at the end, you understand why your character did that with the cars. Like
I watched the whole thing, Lauren.
Yeah, the cars were your character's life.
That's right, man. I can't believe you watched the whole thing. You're really a movie guy, aren't you? That's not even a horror movie, but you're into it.
Oh yeah, I'm into movies, but I was actually on a C. Thomas because I saw Soul Man recently too. I was just like kind of going through a chain react. Like usually when if there's a performance I really like, I just kind of start chain reacting. Like follow this actor for a while, follow this actress for a while. So
that's fun, man. That's cool. You can see anything now everywhere. You can find anything.
Yeah. I don't know if that's in print anymore. Like, I don't even know who owns that film at this particular moment. Maybe that's why it's somebody just could upload on YouTube that doesn't get flagged. But so I mean, you're only in a couple scenes with him, but did you start a little bit of a relationship there with Swayze or just kind of professional? And then that led into Point Break, obviously years later. Like, yeah, I know him.
Right. So you make a movie with someone, you talk to him, you meet him. We didn't become friends. We didn't work together much. He just was in a scene. I'm like, it's Patrick Swayze. I'm doing my thing. I'm a super method actor at the time. And when I showed up and Patrick Swayze was in the room and we're rehearsing Point Break with Catherine Bigelow, I didn't say anything like I was in Grandview, USA with you. I never mentioned it. I just treated him with a familiarity. Like, yeah, we're brothers already. We've worked together. I'll love you forever. I'm support. I can trust you. You can trust me. I've got your back. You've got my back. We've been in the trench together, and I'll always support you. You can, and that's the feeling I get when I've worked with someone in a movie. If you've given that, you've got to trust them, and you've been vulnerable, and you've been everything, and I need you like at this moment, between action and cut, to be there for me. And I'll be there for you. And so I had that vibe from day one, and it carried over, and we became really tight friends. In that Point Break, he took us all in, actually, all of the members of this bank robbing gang. He stepdadded us, like he just took us all in, and we could go to his house. He took us skydiving. He took us water skiing. He took us everywhere. He's like, you're part of my crew, man. He loved us. And we loved him back. You know what I mean? He's a big, big love, that guy. And I love him forever. He's a special man, not a normal human being. He's a superior human being. I don't know where it came from, but that guy had something very deep and very giving, like Keanu. People say the same thing about Keanu, and that was my experience. We hung out a ton after that movie. Not a normal human being, superior human being. Where I don't know where it comes from, but I don't have that. He's just, what a generous, multi-talented, kind human being. Both those guys were off the charts, like aliens, from another planet who came down to grace us. That's how I feel about this, that kind of level of talent. Not talent, the kindness I'm talking about. The kindness. That blows my mind. That's the thing, the kindness.
Yeah, two extraordinary gentlemen in the same movie. That's great.
Yeah, the genius of Catherine Bigelow. That's pretty amazing.
Wow. Did you already know? Well, at least I'm sure you at least knew him, but did you know? You knew Bo Jesse, like when you got cast and all that? Did you already know him or no?
No, didn't know Bo Jesse. Did not know James LeGros, the other two bank robbers. They're both my friends forever now. I support them and love them forever from that movie. Like I love Bo. He has an acting school. He teaches acting.
Who is that?
James LeGros, still working in these really good independent films.
He's
on Severance now. Plays my. He is just a workhorse. He's probably one of those like Harvey Keitel guys where it's like, best actor for the dollar you can hire. He'll always.
Oh, God. like Drugstore Cowboy. I mean, the list goes on. Where the day takes you, he's that guy like, through the 80s and 90s. Like you couldn't not watch a movie without seeing him in it. At one point.
I wonder how many movies. I would be interested how many movies James LeGros has done. I could look it up, but I'm not going to. But like, he's probably made hundreds.
Between that and TV, it has to be over 100.
Yeah. Oh yeah, easily. Yeah, he's one of those actors. He's always working. You know, like I think he's in LA right now. He's hard guy to get a hold of. He's a hard man, but he's gnarly, man. I love that guy. So I'll love those guys forever and ever and ever, no matter what.
Who was the Bo Jesse was a professional? Do I have it right? Was he a professional surfer? Then jumped in that?
No, neither was I. Neither was we just we were the two guys that surfed already, that were good surfers that got in the movie, that didn't need stunt doubles. Like we're real surfers. It's funny. My wife, like, if you watch Point Break, I'm a badass in Point Break, because I don't give a fuck, because I'm a real surfer. Like I really surf. So they cast me in that movie, and I don't know why they did. I was also a really good actor at the time, but being a surfer in a gnarly badass bank robbing movie, and being the kind of actor I was just I just got buff and fucking didn't give a shit. They talk about like when you work out so much and you really surf, surfing's hardcore. I was playing a much more gnarly guy than I'm not a gnarly guy. That character was a gnarly guy. And so that's what I was at the time. And you can watch my work in that movie and just go, that guy doesn't give a shit, man. I brought that level of that movie to a place that a non-surfer couldn't ever take it. They're playing a surfer, like they could be the most brilliant actor in the whole wide world. But, that's what they're cast for, bringing that kind of storytelling thing. I didn't give a fuck. I was like, the camera's here, like, do you want to be in the shot? I go, not necessarily. I was such a badass, and that comes across. I think Catherine Bigelow's really fucking smart. But yeah, at first I was like, it's so funny how time, when you look back on things you've done in your life, you can see more clearly. But I'm really proud of that movie, and I'm really proud of my work in that movie. Even at the time, I was like, I don't know, man, if this respects surfing. That's because I was hard. I was just like, I'm a surfer, man. This is the real thing. Don't fuck around with this sport. Because everyone's always making fun of surfing and surfers and stuff like that. And I am too. Like me and James LeGros during that movie were like, we love surfing, but we hate surfers. And that's fine. We're kind of surfers that hate other surfers. But that was we took an angle on. There's as many different types of surfers as there are actors or golfers or whatever. There's just
but like you would know better than me. I'm not a surfer, but I know they got like the code of like, hey, this is there's only so many waves here. Like we're locals. Like you're just not jumping on these waves without talking to us first. I know there's like a punk rock territorial thing with the surfers too at the same time, because they always make them out to just be like, it's stupid, but that exists, right? All that stuff. Right?
You definitely got it. Yeah. People think, surfers are just like hippie, fun-loving people. No, they're really aggressive. They love to fight, and they love to hurt other people, and it's like, it doesn't seem to make sense, but that's what that's what happens. That's what it becomes. It's aggressive and it's intimidating, and I'm not always welcome, like, not even me. I can't even go places and be welcome. It's just like, yeah, get the, like, beat it. Like it's intimidating, and it's gang warfare a lot of times. There's gangs, and it's weird. Like, what? I thought it was supposed to be fun.
But you got your gang stuff, but you also have that, hey, which is the truth. You only have so many waves in the morning before the tide dies down. So, or
whatever. Yeah. Waves are a limited resource. That's why I thank God for wave pools. That's why I'm all about, hey, build another wave pool. Surfing's fun. Everybody should try it in a wave pool. When it's your turn, when you buy the hour, it's your turn. Get as many waves as you want. You can.
Yeah. So you had your Swayze and Keanu. You had like these two heavyweight actors. So I got to jump forward a year, next year or so. I just got to ask, what is it like with like you get the Tombstone, and you're just like, look at all these actors on paper. There was literally like I think 22, like even this like the Jason Priestley, like Billy Zane and Billy Bob Thornton, like the lower end ones. But then it's just like, wow, like what was that like when you found out you were going to be in that movie?
I couldn't. When I went to the table read for that movie, I didn't have to audition.
Yeah.
I just was the directors had seen me in something. And I wasn't really working that much. I was like, oh, hey, the guy, my Bill Danziger was my agent. He just got the offer. He goes, hey, you got an offer on a movie. And it's a good movie and with good actors in it. Like I go, well, fuck yeah, I'm stoked. What do I have to do? He goes, as long as I don't have to get, as long as I don't have to crawl through the mud and fucking, die. Like, and I read the script and my character literally crawls through the mud and dies. I what I meant was be humiliated by crawling through, but my actual character, I don't know. I must have been in the zone or something. The director must have known something about me, but I was lucky. I guess I looked like that character, or he liked me in a Western, or he liked me. Who knows? Kevin Jarre. But yeah, when I went to do that read through, I'm looking at the table going, I am a part of this in the best cast ever assembled to make a motion picture of all time. And the first time I read those lines out loud in front of everybody, they all laughed when I was hoping they'd laugh, like I was a part of that team and I was so fucking happy and so proud, to be a part of that. And then the director got fired, and a new guy came in and a lot of people were upset. And then by then it just became a battle. You have to fight, to protect yourself, what you had. You don't want to lose what you had. A lot of actors lost a lot of the lines that they had, that the reasons why they took the film. But a lot of them, God bless them, stayed with it. My part expanded. I'm the luckiest, I was like, my part expanded. You couldn't say that in front of Sam Elliott or Billy, Bill Paxton, but Billy, I'm in a movie with Billy Bob Thornton. Mm-hmm. I mean, that was the best. I couldn't believe it. And Kevin Jarre put together the best cast of any movie I've ever seen in my life. And I got to be in it. I'm grateful. I don't know what else to say.
Was everything okay as far as having all those actors in the room when Kevin was there? And Susan, the director, when he got fired, that's when everything started going a little more on.
I mean, when George Cosmatos, he had to rewrite the script, cut a lot of shit out, and Kurt Russell and Val Kilmer helped him a great deal. But when George Cosmatos came back on the set, he'd look around and he'd go, he literally said, there's too many actors in this movie. Uh-huh. We don't need another fucking actor. Everybody's an actor who's doing the best they can, that he's not used to working with so many actors. Here's a movie star. Here's a supporting actor. Everybody else is a fucking meat puppet. But none of us felt like meat puppets, and he would just lose his temper and be furious. And I remember Bill Paxton going, George, I'm trying to help you, and that was the attitude, but he was so cool. But George is a screamer, and we're like, God, I hope he doesn't yell at me. And he did. There's a scene where I'm doing a scene with Val Kilmer and Stephen Lang and Robert Burke, the fucking brilliant actor, Robert Burke. And Stephen Lang slams a table and a whiskey bottle goes flying and I catch it like that. I just catch it. And that's what was happening live, and afterwards the director was furious. He goes, why did you catch that bottle? I was like, why did I catch the bottle that was flying off the table? Because I'm in the moment, George. I'm not thinking about, how you have to match it and like that. I'm a human being living in the moment, and I got quick reflexes. Lucky for you, I caught that bottle. Go watch it again. Like you should make it a part of the fucking scene. But he he just wanted things just to be focused on the celebrity, on the movie stars. And I don't blame him, like that's his job. And the movie turned out fucking great. People love that movie.
I just saw Michael Bean interview on Inside of You podcast, and he talked about what you were saying, but he said as soon as when Kevin went out and the new director came in, as soon as he walked up to Michael told him to go F himself, and he walked away because he just knew, like everyone, like you said, everyone was protecting their spot. Like, we have this rhythm and this, and, we're doing good. And like, who knows what this guy's going to try to do. So he said, like, he got through it, but he said, you know, he didn't like that second director at all.
Right. Well, yeah, I know. He lost a lot of really classic fucking lines, you know, and scenes. The director had to cut a lot of shit out. He had a huge part before that, very deep and powerful part. Fuck, he's a legend for being in that movie, though. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
He's a legend for that scene he did with Val Kilmer. He's a legend for how he handled the scenes he had. But he's a movie, you know, he was in, you know, he's been a movie star, you know, like the movie, he's the lead.
Universe,
right? Yeah. So, you know, how do you, for him, it was like, just like I was talking about earlier, you know, you have these expectations, you have these desires, you think you're in this place, but Hollywood puts you in this other place. And you do the best you can because you never know. You want to, actors like to work. You know, he likes to work. And look what happened. It became like, just take away what it was going to be. You never know. And what it was, just here's this thing that it was, accept the reality of it. You're a fucking legend for playing that part so well. And being in those scenes. A legend forever. And so, you know, it's hard, but, you know, but the individual's got, well, it could have been this, it could have been that, it should have been this, it should have been that. And, you know, it's hard not, it's hard not to, I love my cats. It's hard not to, you know, it's hard. I don't know. That's a thing, you know, you got to deal with that. That's a thing. Acceptance versus expectation. You know, there's reality and then there's what you want to happen. And acceptance is the key. Acceptance is the key, is the answer, you know, to peace of mind.
How was, I mean, I imagine you guys had to rehearse the actual shootout, the OK Corral. Like,
we rehearsed the shit out of that. That was the funnest thing in the world for all us actors. Rehearsing, you know, the armorer on that set is the father of the armorer on that set. Where that poor cinematographer got killed and the director got shot in the shoulder, that Alec Baldwin movie, Rust.
Oh, that's the same spot?
No, just the daughter of our armorer was the armorer of that set.
Oh.
I shouldn't say anything else, but let me say this about our armorer. Think about our armorer. We had to rehearse the OK Corral with all these actors shooting at other actors all day long. And all of the rehearsals we had to do to get up to get that gunfight down to the second and down to the round that happened at the OK Corral, the real OK Corral, from history things. And we did it. And, you know, that was an amazing experience for us. You know, it was amazing experience for me. I had a horse I had to rear. I got shot by a shotgun. I got pulled back. I had to shoot under a horse. Like, some people had to like have squibs put on them, you know. It was just crazy. And Val Kilmer, to his credit, you know, any of those actors during the OK Corral, during a take between action and cut, could cut the take, could stop the action by saying, cut, that gun was pointed at me. I saw the barrel was pointed at me. Cut. You got 8 movie stars, like, you know, with guns all pumped up to, you know, living their life of the OK Corral. And then one actor you hear cut and you're like, whoa, an actor just cut the scene. Because he goes, yeah, I just felt that gun move across, you know, it was pointed at my chest for a second. So I had to cut the scene. That's how much respect that armorer and those stunt guys gave the actors, because you don't ever fire a weapon pointed at another actor. You know, you just don't. It's dangerous.
Yes, of course.
One time came up to me between takes, goes, did you feel that you feel that you were kind of pointing your, you know, shooting at me on that take? And I was like, I'm so sorry if I was. Yeah, I was dealing with this horse and I may have, and I'm sorry. I'll remember. He goes, yeah, just don't point it at me. You know, you got to find the angle that works for the camera. I was like, so sorry, Val. But, you know, he knows horses, so he gave me a little slack, because, you know, when you're dealing with a fucking horse, you know, it's this 1-ton animal that I'm also trying to kill him with. Look at that. Have you ever seen anything like that in your life?
Photo bomb.
Have you ever seen anything like it in your life?
let me keep you right where you're talking about with Val. Michael Biehn said in that same interview, he wasn't knocking him. He was praising him, but said he had a great time with Val. But he just said he doesn't know Val Kilmer. He said he only knows, Doc Holliday. He said was he like that to you too? Like you didn't get to talk to him. He stayed in character.
Oh yeah, I didn't get to talk to him. Some people did on the last day of filming. I heard I was sick and I couldn't go to the cast party, but there was a party when he doesn't have to be Doc anymore and he's Val, and people said he's so funny and tells great stories and apologized like I had to do this, like usually I have and people were like, you ought to come down here, he's telling great stories, and I'm sure he's an amazing guy, but no, during the filming there was only one moment where I got to see something that wasn't Doc.
Mm-hmm.
And that was in the bar. We're drinking and playing poker and there's smoking cigars and everybody's around the table for a long time at night. Those scenes take a long time to shoot because there's so many actors in the scene.
Yep.
And, we're waiting for a long time, and Val is literally passing around his own personal flask with alcohol. I'm sober at the time, so I can't drink it, but I'll take it and pretend I do, and pass it on. And the music's going on in the background. And I realized at one point the music is a Doors song. And I look up at Val and he's actually drinking alcohol, right? And he's just sitting there like we're all waiting. And all of a sudden he goes, yeah. And just right when Jim Morrison does it. And I go, that's Jim Morrison. He just became Jim Morrison. Doc Holliday just is channeling Jim Morrison at the poker table. And I just saw it. I was like, whoa, that was a fucking actor's dream come true moment, because he's just,
So you didn't see Val, you just saw Doc Holliday turn into Jim Morrison and back to Doc Holliday.
Yeah. And you could say, I'm not dissing him either. Like some people might, but I can say, yeah, I saw Val in the hallways, when we were on the set, being Val, like doesn't want to say hi, doesn't want you to look at him or talk to him, please don't look Val in the eye kind of thing, like that's, that can be off-putting for a lot of, actors. Like, what? Like, you don't understand, like, why not? But that's the way he works, and it's worth it because we go to, we're allowed to go to dailies. That director let us all come to dailies. So we're watching the dailies, and I get to watch Val Kilmer between takes doing the dailies for the scene where he's dying, and he's talking to Wyatt. Like there's no, like, just life, just you're going to live. And he knows he's dying. And the guy was crying for an hour, like just crying, just crying. And oh my God, it was because, he wanted his friend to live, and he was sad that he had to die, and he knew life was precious at that moment. He'd taken lives. I mean, it was just so deep and beautiful. I was like, fuck, I don't give a shit how this guy acts between work. Because what he's doing, you can't pay enough. You can't buy. I mean, there's no price you can put on that, what he did with Doc character.
Mm-hmm.
It's worth everything, and I don't care if he had to, I don't want to talk to anybody except Kurt Russell and the director while I'm shooting this movie. But when it's over, I'll talk to anybody.
But you're saying, what I'm getting the vibe of what you're trying to get across is, like, he's such a method actor. It's just kind of like, could just not interrupt my groove while I stand over here, sort of thing. You think it was more of a thing?
Maybe. I don't know. I don't know what a method actor is. I claim, I don't know, what his method, a method actor is, what his method to make it believable, Yeah. What does he have to do to feel 100% confident that he is bringing the magic to the table, bringing this character the best he can possibly do? What does he have to do? And that's how I was on Point Break and Grandview USA and stuff. What do I have to do to do the best job I can do? Well, who do I have to be? Some people, like, Michael J. Fox, or me later when I wasn't serious as an actor, they probably don't have to do anything. They just show up and go, what do you want me to say? How do you want me to say it? Just tell me how, and where do you want me to stand? And they just say it, and they're like, oh, that guy's great. I love that guy. That's a talent I don't have. I can't just show up and, like, clown it and joke it and, like, then I suck. I've sucked. I know how to be bad.
But that
And
whole
I've seen people be good too, and it's like it's amazing. I'm just not that good of an actor that I can go in and out and in and out and in and out and not give a shit.
gotcha.
Some
So,
are.
but just rewind before I flip the page on this. When you were doing that fight with the OK Corral, and you kind of thought you pointed right. Val Kilmer said in Doc Holliday to you, speaking to you as Doc Holliday, like, hey, maybe not find a different point of view for the gun.
Oh, that's an interesting thing. No, it was an actor. It was Val.
Okay.
Came over and said, I know you're rearing this horse. You know, I've worked with horses all my life, and I know that there's a lot of adrenaline going on in this scene because we're actors. You know, we've got these guns, but careful, like, don't, you know, I felt in that last one that gun was pointed right at me. You know, please be aware, be conscious when the camera's rolling.
Yeah.
You know, you're not Tom McClowry. I'm not Doc Holliday. You know, I got from actor to actor. We're going to go back and shoot a scene where we're going to be as believable as we can be. But you must remember, you're not to ever point your firearm at someone. He didn't have to make it that specific, but we all knew you don't point your fucking weapon at anybody and shoot it. You know, you can find the angle that works for the camera. Yeah, it's make believe. No, he wasn't Doc Holliday. He was Val Kilmer, the actor, saying, I don't want to get shot in the face by a wad of fucking shit under this horse because you, as an actor, look at me and point your gun at me and shoot me, you know? So it wasn't, you know, it was from an actor to an actor. And I was like, fuck yeah, I got to be really aware. I've got a lot going on here in this moment. And what I have to, it's just another thing. Acting is, you know, when you're doing action scenes like that, and it's you know, it's not, it's not a green screen. You're dealing with a lot of things. That's why a lot of really good actors are really, really good athletes. And
yeah.
That guy could do it. That was a phenomenal athlete, right?
That's absolutely. So you did another movie I saw maybe within the last year, but New Kids. How'd you end up in that? Tell us the origin of that one? Because I always love the crazy town people that will go to that length. I always found those movies amusing. It's that personal. We got
yeah.
You know, the new guys in town. We got to harass them to this point. But yeah, just what was that like, and how did you even was that an agent that found you that, or
agent found me. All the movies I did for SAG, you know, in the 80s and 90s was one agent, Steve Dontonville, except for Tombstone was fielded by Bill Danziger, a great guy. But yeah, I had to audition for Sean Cunningham in Florida. They flew me out to audition there. And I auditioned with a bunch of different actors, you know, ensemble thing, just like in Return of the Living Dead, working with different actors, doing stunts. Sean Cunningham had us do a lot of physical stuff, like run over here, jump on this car, fall down here, you know, like, can you handle a gun? Can you handle stunts? I'm going to have these young actors. How do they look doing action, you know? And, you know, I got that part. I was so lucky. When I got back, I found out that Eric Stoltz, my best friend, and Jimmy Spader, who was Eric's best friend, are going to be in this movie. And I'm like, oh my fucking God, this is a heaven. I got to meet Jimmy Spader. I'm friend at Eric's, you know, oh, great. You know, like we became friends, you know, and Eric was there. It was just really fun. You know, we're in Florida for 3 months back when he used to be, they'd buy it from the beginning to the end, you know, and it was a, you know, really great movie making experience because on location again, working with young actors, you know, it was super fun. I learned a lot. I was really into it. I was into my character. You know, it was like I'd like to see that movie again. I'll bet that movie's better than it got. It's like
I think it's free on Tubi right now. I believe it's free on Tubi is where I believe I saw it. So yeah.
I mean, I didn't know much about horror then, you know, but I didn't know Sean Cunningham. I knew he was rich because he put his money into Friday the 13th or whatever the movie he did.
Yeah, that was him. It was Friday the 13th. He did the first 4 Friday the 13th films. He did like House. I think the first House movie. That's another horror movie. But yeah, and they did this one. But yeah, you had Lori Leighton in this. I mean, yes.
Lori Loughlin looks good from every angle.
But
She's out,
oh
I go,
my
why'd
God.
you cast Lori Loughlin? He goes, she looks good from every angle.
Yep.
And she does. But, she was a TV actor, and we're like trying to be film actors. Like, there's a difference. Now we all wish we were TV actors. James and Eric, those guys became TV actors. They're really smart. But I don't have that kind of face. But now, like, I love her. Like, I went to USC. I'm a USC graduate. So she went to, had to go to jail to get her kids into USC. And I'm like, fuck yeah, that's cred. That's street cred, man. That's a
She
mom going
definitely
to
did.
jail. Good for
Yep.
you, babe.
Yeah. And then this is when you were still tight with Spader too, right?
Oh yeah, we just used to hang out for years after that, man. That guy's also another talent. I mean, I just don't know how actors do the things he does. I'm like, oh my God, you're so talented. It was a pleasure to be around those guys.
He's never not been relevant. Like he's just always been there's no gap where like what happened to him. No, he's
Gap.
He's just constantly going.
That's a great way to put it. There is no gap. Constantly up. Like that guy's special.
Yeah. But John, I know you have to be somewhere shortly. You got an appointment coming up, but
that's right.
You got anything you want?
Bro.
Yeah. So thank you. I thank you so much for joining me again. I look forward.
Smart. It's so fun to talk to you. You're so into it. I really appreciate your whole movie, intelligence, the way you can talk about them. It's really impressive.
Thank you so much.
I want to see you in Jersey or wherever. Let's go. Let's get together. I want to come to that convention. I want to see you again.
I've been seeing you. I saw you at the Mahoney Drive-In, for that Jersey Corn reunion too. So we always seem to run into each other at least once a year. So
yeah, it'll keep up.
Absolutely. And I'm always filming. Huh?
Thanks for your time. This is fun.
Absolutely. John, is there anything you need to plug or coming up? Anything?
I don't need to plug anything. I'm going on vacation and then it's back to the convention circuit and I'm still alive. So if you want me to be in your horror movie, I'd love to. I love acting. It's my favorite thing. And I live for the time between action and cut. So let me know. Come up and talk to me. I want to meet you.
Sweet. Well, with that, I'll thank my audience once again for taking the time for listening. Hit that subscribe button on YouTube and Spotify. New episodes drop every Monday. And with that, I will say the party is over.